What's up, everyone? All right, it's Monday morning and I'm locking up a $21,000 green day. The momentum is definitely back. This is great to see. So today I ended up trading 4 different stocks. I'm green on all 4. Think about how night and day this is from 2.5-3 weeks ago. It was 2-3 Mondays ago that I was red on 4 out of 4 stocks I traded, and I was down $20,000. So yes, the market has totally given us a swing back in the right direction. Overall market, S&P 500 back near the highs. As you guys know, we went over this on Friday. We went over it again in the game plan watch list yesterday. So just underneath the all-time highs right here with a slight gap down, but oil had a slight gap up today, but nothing crazy. So overall market positioned very nicely here right at the highs. IWM, the Russell 2000 index for small caps, right at the highs again. So this is just really good timing here, especially leading into what we're expecting in about 45 days, which is the pattern day trader rule going away. So this, I'm thinking, is going to open up for a really great summer of trading. I don't currently have any big travel scheduled this year. I was thinking about it, and last year I did take some bigger trips. I traded every day while I was traveling, but no doubt trading on my traveling trading station with a laptop and smaller monitors and hotel Wi-Fi, whatever, is not optimal. I can make it work, but if we're in a really hot market, that's a time when I've kind of got to buckle down and capitalize on that as much as I can, and then travel when the market's cooler. Right? If I miss the opportunities a little bit when it's cooler, I'm not missing that much. But missing the opportunities when it's hot, I mean, those can be $20,000 days, $50,000 days, $100,000 days. That's leaving a lot of money on the table. So I would say at this point, my travel for the summer will be really centered on, as long as I can make sure I still have really fast internet. I can go there. So I probably won't be taking any big plane trips or doing anything too big. So anyway, so IWM, yes, glad to see that moving higher. S&P 500, glad to see that moving higher. And our leading gapper right now is FCHL. FCHL is, it's halted up right now. It's got 145 million shares of volume. We had a pop earlier, it pulled back, then it rallies back up. So we are still seeing some momentum in penny stock names, but we also had some great action on ENVB earlier today, up 147%, which you can see this was a winner. We had WLDS a little bit earlier, which gave us a pretty big move as well. This one from $1.80 to $3.60, although it's back at $2 right now. We had ARTL, which popped up from $4.50 up to nearly $8 a share. That one's come back down a little bit as well. And JTAI, this one put in a pretty big move, didn't really get much of it, and it's actually now going red on the day. And this is a little bit of a challenge. Which stock is going to hold up and which one's going to roll over? With some of the big moves that we had last week, like Bird and EFOI, I was left feeling like, I can't believe I had such a fantastic entry down here at 4, and I sold the whole thing at like 5, and this thing goes to 9 without me. It feels like unbelievable. Bird makes this incredible move, and again, sold the whole thing. I mean, I was green those days, but I felt like if I could get back my shares from, $4, holy smokes, it's like $20 a share. That's crazy. But on the other hand, so that sort of leads me to think, I should hold these longer. I shouldn't just sell it so quick. I should hold it for a bigger move. But then on the other hand, you have something like WLDS, right? Where if I was still holding this, I'd be red. And so what I will tell you is that I have built my career off of locking up base hits, getting in, getting green, and getting out. If another setup forms, I will keep trading it. And so when a stock continues going higher, I can get dozens of trades on it. Now, at a certain point in the day, like right now on ENVB, the stock has become quite crowded. It's got 60 million shares of volume. It's really stacked up on the bid. It's stacked up on the offer. And Bird was the same way. After the open, stocks generally do become a bit more thickly traded. And so there is a window within the move where I will typically be able to capture the most, and it is on the earlier side. But, for every one stock that ends up going from $5 to $25, there's probably, 9 others that go, from $2 to $5. And then by the end of the day are back at, I don't know, $3. They don't hold that level. So this is very typical that when you have a lot of exuberance in the market, there's heightened emotions, traders are more aggressive buying up stocks, hoping that this will be the next one that goes, to $25 a share. But that generally doesn't happen. I mean, it happens, from time to time, but not on every single stock. So, once the writing's on the wall that that's not happening, then people bail out of it. And so you get sort of this big swing to the upside when people are thinking it has that potential. And then the big swing back to the downside when people are sort of giving up on it. And so if you hold these thinking it's going to just keep going higher and higher, you would essentially depend on, the 1 or 2 out of 10 that keep going to $20 or $30 a share to bail you out from all the times that you had profit, but you didn't lock it up, and then the stock ended up going, back down to nothing, or potentially going, red, and you still held it. So it is hard to see stocks that make huge moves after you've got out, but at the same time, I think that, if anything, it's a good sign of market strength, which is terrific. It's a sign that maybe there's a little more opportunity you can try to squeeze out. But if you're walking away green, that's a sign of a disciplined trader, because you are knowing that you've got to pay yourself. You can't just hold. You can't hope that every stock is going to go to $100 because, while that does happen, we've had a few times this year where stocks literally have gone to $100 a share. But if you said, I'm not going to sell unless it goes to 100, or I'm going to get stopped out, you would get stopped out on probably, 98 out of 100 trades. And so, yes, you'd have those 2 that end up being a huge winner. But if you approach trading the way I did when I got started, which is that I need to produce $200 a day in order for this to be my full-time job, right? In order for this to be what I do instead of going and getting a regular job, then you need to focus on being consistent and hitting those base hits. So that's the approach. That's what's worked well for me. And, that's what I'm obviously continuing to do every single day. So this morning, I locked up a base hit on ENVB. So we'll look at that one first. We'll go back to the very first trade of the day because this was the first stock that I traded. So ENVB, and by the way, before I say that, I'll remind you guys that our anniversary sale is ending here tomorrow at Warrior Trading. We've got specials on our Warrior Starter membership, our Warrior Pro membership, and then we've got a Warrior Pro special bundle, which includes a year of access to the chat room, 3 months of access to a simulator, our simulator, and also day trade dash software right here. And the special bundle also includes a 7-day satisfaction guarantee. So I hope you guys check this out if you haven't already. All right, so now jumping back over here, ENVB popped up earlier this morning, and honestly, I was really surprised and kind of taken aback by the fact that it goes from 210 up to 250, 260, pulls back. I was like, that's it. That's going to roll over from here. Then it goes up to 270, right back to the high of day. 280. Surely it's not going to go to 3. Goes to 3. 310, 330, pulls back, 350, 370, 4, 430, 440. And I didn't trade any of this move. Why not? Well, as I had talked and mentioned in my game plan episode that I uploaded yesterday, I wanted to wait for a pullback. And more than just a little micro pullback. I didn't want to get in at the top and have it roll over on me. So I tried to be a little bit more cautious. And unfortunately, although it was fine to be cautious, this ended up making, a much bigger move than what I was expecting. So that was disappointing that I missed it, but it pulled back. And then as it curled back up right here, I got in right there, and I was looking for that retest of the high a day. And so this ended up having a pullback, as you could see, popping up, pulling back, popping up, pulling back. And what I didn't like really was these topping tails here, here, and even up here. If we look at this on the 1-minute chart, the topping tails are pretty noticeable. So this was the area where we had that first move with the big topping tail, that topping tail here, here, and here. But I also recognized that there was a tipping point, a line in the sand where if we crossed it, we were very likely to retest our high a day. And I thought, where's that line in the sand? I said, well, certainly it's definitely over 4, but it's a little sooner than that. and I kind of thought 380, 385. And so I jumped in as it started to squeeze up to this level. And I got a nice trade right there from 380 all the way up to this high. I was up probably $20,000 unrealized. However, I didn't take it all off the table quickly enough. This was a topping tail. This was a topping tail. And as it dropped back down is when I sold. So I held a little longer on this because I had such a good entry down here. I was like, I'm really in the driver's seat on this thing. Let's see if this, keeps going. And then sure enough, it stopped me out. So with profit, but it did stop me out. So $8,870 of profit, giving back. I mean, again, unrealized would be the moment it hit 450. And, I don't think I could have probably sold that fast to get it all off the table at that moment. But I had a pretty nice profit on it for a moment. Anyways, then it pulls back. It kind of curls back up. Wasn't able to break back through the high. So it was like, all right, man, that might not work. And then you can see right here, it does rally back up around 9 a.m. And I didn't trade this. It kind of, by this point, we were back to kind of the thickly traded status that we have now, which is, I didn't feel like I could really read the tape on it very well. So I didn't get back in. It opens at 9:30 opening bell. And initially at the 9:30 opening bell, it popped up. Looks like it's going to go. And then it dropped pretty hard. So let me just move this forward here a little bit. So we're going to jump forward. Oh, I'll zoom out and go like this. So this little rejection right here. So see how this was looking good and then flushes down. So this went from 460 all the way down to 420. It's like a 40-cent drop. And then it rips back up and ends up going almost to a halt, which was at 545. Really just impressive move. So anyway, so that was ENVB. $8,800 of profit on it. Not bad. Nothing phenomenal, though. ARTL is a good base hit. So then ARTL, this one pops up here this morning. And I was a little skeptical about it. We've traded the stock before. If you look at the daily chart, we'd had this big move right here, but then it sold off. So we broke the 200 moving average, which was impressive. And then we were below it, and we have been back below it since. And so I kind of looked at it, and I was like, well, the 200's up here. I don't really usually like this chart setup that much, but it is obviously popping up. So on this one, we popped up, we pulled back, we curled back up, and I got in right here. Right at this spot there. So that was a cup and handle formation. All right, so I'll show you that. So this is the cup, that's the handle, and then that's the breakout. So I was in right there for the breakout. We got a little squeeze up to about 7, a little rejection there, then it curls up to 780. So scaled out as it squeezed higher and locked up about $5,000 of profit on that. Then JTAI, this one hit the scanners, and I didn't jump into it during the spike, but I did get in right here as it was starting to curl back up, and was in and out very quickly, lost $100, or made $100, but was almost red on it. It was break-even trade, I would say. And then WLDS was the last stock I traded, and this one was interesting because it hit the scanners, squeezes up very quickly, and immediately was our leading gainer in the entire market. So squeezes up right here, hits a high of 316, dips down, gets back up here, pulls back, and I got in right there at 3. And so this ends up being a ABCD pattern right there, and a little dip off 3, which is the $half whole dollar. So I'm in at 3, and I took profit up here. Now, why didn't this one go to 4, right? Or 450 or 5? I don't know. But it went to 350-ish and then dropped back down. I took my profit, was grateful for that. And as always, we'll live to trade another day. So this is a great start to the week. I'm feeling good about that. And for those of you guys that have been tuning in, watching on the sidelines for weeks, months, maybe years, this would be a great time for you guys to take the leap and become a full-fledged member. You know that we've got about 45 days until the pattern day trader rule goes away. So all of a sudden, the market is more accessible than really it has ever been. And this is going to be a good thing for traders. But you need to make sure that you're practicing in a simulator and really working on refining your skill, because trading is risky. Easy come, easy go. So manage your risk, take it slow, make sure you study up, and I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. I'll be streaming at 7 a.m. And again, the links for the anniversary sale are posted in the description and in the comments.